Speaking of recalls and voting, there was an interesting article in the New York Times about expanding the voter rolls and actually getting more people to vote. This is a country that should be encouraging more people to vote, and we still have this archaic voter registration system, Lewis, that creates a bunch of barriers to getting a ballot. In 2008, 75 million eligible voters did not vote eligible people didn't vote in the presidential election, and 80% of them were not even registered. You don't vote, Lewis, so as we know, this is a topic that is very near and dear to you.
Is it? Or do I not care about this because I don't vote?
Well, the vast majority of states rely on this 19th century registration method. You have to go fill out a paper form when you become eligible to vote. It's often at a government office. You have to repeat the process every single time you move. There's a reason the U.S. has such low voter participation rate. Part of it is lack of engagement with the process, but part of it is, at least statistically, part of it is this registration process.
Depending on where you live, where I live, where we both live, it's not just every time you move that this needs to be redone. It may be the only thing you have to fill out.
But there are other times.
But when there's the census, if you do not fill it in and return it, you may be removed.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's 17 states that send electronically the voter registration data to the motor vehicle registration departments and to election offices. And those states have significantly higher registration rates. It's absolutely no surprise. And the sad thing is, Lewis, that the country has a very long tradition of putting up barriers to voting participation. I mean, in earlier eras, there were very overt barriers to keep certain people from voting. Literacy tests meant to keep minorities and poor people from voting. Recent methods are more subtle, but they're still harmful. I mean, Ohio briefly banned registration forms not printed on 80-pound paper, which of course makes it easier to invalidate the minority voter drives who may not have access to the forms. We see it very consistently.
So are you saying that this is the result of Republicans trying to keep things the same, trying to enact policies that prevent voters from going to the polls?
I've heard your explanations for not voting, and Natan, you've talked about how Lewis has this idea that his not voting is a neutral act in some way. But there is one party that has a vested interest in keeping voter turnout lower, because we know that when voter turnout goes up, it's more progressive candidates that tend to win and more progressive social policy. So this absolutely, Lewis, and you in not voting, help to you are doing what the Republicans want you to do.
I don't deny that I'm doing what the Republicans want me to do, but do you think my not voting is a result of Republican strategies to get people not to vote?
For whatever reason, you've decided your vote doesn't matter, and that in this state, in Massachusetts, it's not even worth you going out. That's a narrative that is pushed by Republicans, not by Democrats.
But so you're saying, yes, you think my not voting is a result of Republican strategies to get people not to vote?
I'm saying it doesn't matter whether it's a direct result or not. You're doing what Republicans want you to do. Natan, I mean, help me out here.
Yeah, I would say the point you just made is definitely true, but also it's pretty naive to think that one is immune from all advertising and all PR stunts. No one's immune from even the ads that you watch and you say, I'm not going to buy this product. So in that context, I think it's pretty hard to say that if the Republicans are wanting to, create the narrative that people shouldn't vote for different reasons, everyone is suffering because of that.
Okay, and my motivation is irrelevant.
Your motivation's not irrelevant, but it just so happens to fit the narrative that Republicans like to see from somebody who would vote progressive. I think you have to think about it, Lewis. 2 days left on the free T-shirt with membership deal, okay? So if you've been waiting to sign up for membership for the David Pakman Show, go to davidpakman.com/spring. You'll get today's bonus show where we'll talk about a revolutionary new hangover treatment. Lewis will tell us, has he ever used such a treatment? Is he willing to pay for such a treatment, and how much? We'll take a break and be back with plenty more right after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.